Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, two undisclosable locations on the map is where you'll find myself and Blake Walley. Blake Walley wearing a wanted, what does that say? Wanted for what? For bad things? What's it say? What's the shirt say? It says wanted
for president, baby.
For president. Let's freaking go. Man, I'll tell you, if you didn't see Barack Hussein Obama talking with Joe Biden yesterday in a very strange conversation, whoo, the energy there. Whoo, man, I wonder if they know that their time is running out. We'll see how it goes. Of course, we're going to determine who the next president is in just, God, what are we down to, Blake? 18 days, something like that? 18, 19, 20 days, 17 days?
Oh, my, that's closing in soon. Hello, Jane.
Hello, Jane. Hello, everybody else in chat. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Actually, maybe I'll just go ahead and do the overlay. I know Kenneth always appreciates that because it spurs more conversation and more comments.
We barely have anybody in yet. Okay, I know, but it makes this look really tiny. I'd rather highlight the comments. Right, it's just gonna sit there empty until it fills up. So anyway,
all right. So Kenneth, when you ask why isn't the overlay on, it's because of Blake. Blake doesn't prefer it aesthetic.
There's 2 comments. We just started the show. Why is it sitting there? All right, whatever.
Because it encourages more comments, and they'll start to brrr, because I forget. Like I'll go a half hour without even thinking about comments because I'm trying to steer the ship.
Just always talking, and not even paying attention to anything else going on. All right.
Yes, I'm focused on my craft. These ancillary issues cannot get in my way. But yeah, we're going to talk about the election. Wanted for president. Who do you want for president? Is there a strategical advantage to voting early or voting last second so they don't know exactly how much to try to cheat by? Blake, have you determined? Are you going to try to vote early? Are you going to wait till voting day? Are you worried the grid could go down? In the meantime, we could get attacked, and then there's a cyber something, and I didn't get my vote in. It's not going to count. We're going to paper ballots. The military is going to be in charge of the ballots. Everyone has a theory, but what is your strategy? Do you want to vote early? Because I guess Trump is telling people go out, vote early. Then other people are like, no, don't show them how overwhelming this tsunami is going to be. Let it hit. Then they can't. They're not going to repeat what they did in 2020. What say you?
Well, they couldn't. They could just stop the count. No, unfortunately, I am not going to be eligible. I've just recently found out. So I'm not in a swing state anyway. I'm in Tennessee, but I would kind of get a weird address because I'm in this weird rental situation, and I'm about to be displaced, and I have to go find another residence by the end of the month. And then I was trying to register in Tennessee. Apparently, you need to be over 30 days before. But then I don't know, if I moved, because I'm looking at going to Nashville. But then if I would have been eligible where I'm at now, I would have had to drive 2 or 3 hours just to go vote, and then 2 or 3 hours to go back home. I'm not a swing state, so it's not going to count too much. But yeah, it's unfortunately I was unable to get it done this year. So
I just remember the Simpsons episode where Bart loses out on being president. Everybody thought everyone else was going to vote. And I think Martin won 2-1. Beat him 2-1. Everybody else I don't think Bart even voted, or maybe it was 1-0 or something like that. Anyway.
Well, seeing the commercials, go ahead and go online and vote. And I'm like, okay, or register. And then I did. And then it was like, oh, sorry, Tennessee's you gotta be at least 30 days before the deadline or before voting day. And it was 3 days after. And I was like, oh, forget it. So either way, it was either with the address or me having to drive 4 or 5 hours or something, but everything got messed up at the last possible, just the perfect shitstorm. So anyway, I will not vote. Tennessee is not a swing state though, so I expect that my vote won't matter that much this time, but I will for next time.
All right. Well, let's get into the news. We kind of have this all laid out. Follow Blake. He's at TV's Blake Walley on X. Follow the New American Media at American_media_. I want to get into this thread here. We're going to talk about what happened yesterday. Blake, did you see clips? Did you watch the whole thing?
I watched parts of it, and then I watched all the clips here from the Vigilant Fox. These are all the relevant stuff. So he did all the work for us, but there wasn't that much to it because it didn't get the full interview because Kamala was intentionally late, and then her staffers were trying to rush her out at the last minute. So It wasn't that long of an interview anyway, but I would have liked to have seen it go longer if possible. But I'm sure Kamala and her people were happy to get her out of there before it got any worse, potentially, depending on your perspective.
But some people are arguing that the fact that you had 4 people waving to do a hard stop, that made it way worse. Way worse. Like, come on. Trump sits down for 2-hour off the cuff interviews. He does 2 hours on the stage, 60 to 90 minutes all the time, just off the cuff. Yeah, he's got a teleprompter, but he's always riffing and adding new stuff, and kind of like a stand-up comedian does, working new material and doing crowd work. I mean, come on. How many minutes was this interview? They were telling him maybe 25 to 30, but then they jumped in and cut it down shorter than that. It's just, if you're going to sit down, you don't even get a chance to unpack. It's like they say with vacation. Like, if you're not going to do at least a 4 or 5, 6 day, 7 day vacation, what's the point? With all the travel to get there, and you barely unpack this stuff, and you got to pack it up and go. You're like, I never had a chance to settle in. That's why podcasts have become so interesting, because you get a chance to really peel back the layers of the onion, and you get to learn more about someone's character, how they think, not what they think, not what they've rehearsed, not what someone's telling you in an earpiece, surreptitiously, like Obama in the basement in his pajamas, and you got fancy earrings that are telling you the lines to remind you what you're supposed to say, like a good little robot, a good little Tesla bot. The long form shows are interesting because you get to learn how people think and the different ways that they, I was thinking about this, and we tried this in California, but that didn't work. And that's why when we push this, it's like, if you have someone with intelligence, you get a chance to understand so much more than what the A plus B equals C answer is. You get to understand who they are. And so all these carefully scripted 20-minute, 15-minute things, I mean, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. If you're running for president, you've got to be able to sit down for a while. But this, of course, is why they're calling it a train wreck interview. Kamala thought she was ready for Brett Baer, and she was wrong. Here are 2 moments in particular that were especially humiliating. This is how it all went down. We will start here. Conversation quickly went off the rails when Kamala Harris dodged Brett Baer's question on illegal immigration while simultaneously saying, let's get to the point. Yeah, Blake, I was yelling at this one. I'll let this play first, and then we'll talk about it.
Voters tell pollsters all over the country.
By the way, body language. Brett, I call him the news robot. He looks like if you designed a news robot, that's exactly what they would look like. I mean, body language, straight, feels military, broad shoulders and where she's, arms crossed, definite arms crossed, legs crossed. Whatever, a little look of concern on her face. Let's see how this plays out.
Voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration, because I agree with you. It is a.
And by the way, a lot of looking down and looking away. Can't look in the eye when you're lying.
Topic of discussion that people want to rightly have, and you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you
now,
just a number? Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have
it's a
an
rough
immigration
estimate of
system
6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get you the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came.
All right, Blake, take away.
Takeaway. I was going to put the captions on because I don't know if you had it there, but that was one of the agree or disagree questions that I had. That Kamala can't get to the point because there isn't one. And yeah, she just totally dodged that question, and it was awkward. She's not used to having somebody tell her what they're just trying to kind of dictate the flow here. And she kept, this is the theme of the entire interview, is that she just keeps interrupting or deflecting to Trump, and she's like, oh yeah, this is a great question because everybody wants to know, but then she doesn't really answer anything. And then it's always somehow twist that into, Trump is to blame. So it was ridiculous. It is no wonder why they just kind of were throwing in the towel there, waving the white flag. What I don't know, but obviously she was over her head. It wasn't set up as a softball interview, although Brett Baer is professional. It was very fair. These are type of questions that she should be getting in a normal situation and that people should hear from, because we're going to put you in, you're going to be in charge for 4 years, the most powerful person on the planet. Then you should be able to handle all of this stuff with ease. And nothing's her fault. I don't know what she's been doing for years. And just, okay, well, she's going to play this game. It's Trump's fault. That might work within her own circles, but certainly not to Fox News viewers or independents or regular Americans that are not happy with the direction of the country. But we'll get to that too.
Yes, let's move along past this one on to the next one. The next question here. Oh man, this and these graphics could have been many more. It's not just one person. It's far too many Americans have been suffering. By the way, I want to say thank you to Keith, Tony, Grizzly, Joe, Ron, and everybody else watching off of the Restream app through the Facebook Live. For some reason, they will not let us use Restream through my groups. Facebook Meta hates the new American media, which means you should love it. So subscribe to us on YouTube and Patreon and Rumble and X. What's that, Blake?
Did you see the latest OMG James O'Keefe undercover with the Meta software engineer? And he says that they blatantly censor people on Meta. So you have no chance. Their integrity team, their Orwellian group. So if it's anything like against Kamala, political, people will not see it. Right. It's just completely hidden, and they don't tell you anything. It's just open shadow banning. So shameless.
And guess what?
Yeah,
we're still here. We're going to find a way through. We will, like the Kool-Aid man. We will go like this and burst through the brick wall if we must. Yuck it up, Meta. Yuck it up. Have fun, because we're not stopping. And here's the fun part, Blake. We've never once intentionally misrepresented a story. We've reported on early versions of things that have later been turned out to be something that's incorrect, and we've always discussed that. Because when you're unpacking the news, you're just talking about what everyone else is talking about, trying to decipher what's accurate, what's likely true, what's definitely false, what's likely false. But we've never intentionally lied to anybody. These Meta companies, YouTube, Google, these places intentionally try to deceive the people that use their products. They intentionally. I mean, Facebook was busted for using anger algorithms. Remember that, Blake? They were testing how angry they could make people by only feeding and funneling them rage bait. Kind of around the time of 2020 when the Democrats worked to set the country on fire. This is really dark stuff.
Yeah, it's social engineering, and it's blatant election interference. So, yeah, it is, as far as I'm concerned, a criminal organization. It is not American. It is not for free speech. It is controlled, and it's disgusting. I don't know how you could be somebody on this integrity team, especially after you've seen all these, legacy media, all these narratives get debunked. So we've been the ones, we're still standing strong. We're probably, we have a better track record than anybody in corporate media. But they continue to shadow ban us secretly. It's gross. It's like any authoritarian country. That's what Facebook is, even though they act like they're not. They're protecting democracy.
Yes. Let's listen to this next part here, talking about illegal alien crime.
Jocelyn Nungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday, campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, This is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases.
Preventable tragedies, yes.
There's no question about that. There is no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced.
You need to imagine it because you caused it.
For a loss that should not have occurred.
Yeah, except you guys stole the 2020 election, and here's the result.
So that...
Oh, allegedly. Go to cisa.gov/rumor control because they'll tell you 2020 was the only free and fair election in the history of elections for countervailing views.
That is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure that no future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days.
Oh, it went to 20 days. Just the way she does those rolling, drawn out syllables is one of the most annoying things about her, and everything's annoying about her. This constant deflecting back to, well, there's a bipartisan bill that would just make 18 million illegals legal, and it'd say you could bring in all these people. It wasn't a bill that anybody could support, and that's all she can do is keep talking about something that didn't get passed because nobody liked it, after she reversed, along with Biden, all of the Trump stuff that was working at the border. This is shameful from her.
Would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election. Because there was a solution, Brett.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungare's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss.
And nonverbal, she's shaking her head. No, 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 no.
I'm so sorry for her loss. Sincerely.
Like, what do you take away from that, Gem?
They pretended like there wasn't any problem at the border until it became such an overwhelming crisis that they were forced to acknowledge just a tiny smidgen, but then to twist it. Oh, well, we just need more resources. So, the Republican, now we got to pass a bill. We need more money and stuff like that. So it's disingenuous. And of course, she takes zero blame for anything. That is just flaming narcissism. So it's to constantly deflect and to blame somebody else, but you can't take any accountability. So it's awful because those are all needless tragedies that happened because of their intentional created crisis, which they still done nothing about. And obviously we have no faith that she's going to do anything going forward. It's just, oh, well, now it's the Republicans to pass a bill, but they put so many poison pills in that thing because most of the money for the border security was going to Ukraine anyway. So,
and Israel.
Right.
I think Israel was a part of that one. I mean,
yeah, they get a lot of money too.
Differentiate where our money's being stolen and looted to. I mean, we were being robbed in broad daylight. I think it was another 425 million or billion. I can't even keep track. Shipped off overseas again. I mean, our country is being plundered of resources in the final days of this deep state Democrat regime. Being plundered in real time. The people who's suffering in North Carolina, they're not getting big fancy checks. They're not getting a ton of help. But yeah, we have enough money to just loot all of our resources. Oh, just throw it on the credit card. That's only $1 trillion in debt every 3 months. I mean, it's bonkers. It's completely bonkers, Blake. Okay, let's move to the next one where Kamala oddly flips the script. Also, shout out to Vigilant Fox. Blake found this here was a nice place for us to just kind of set this and go through it chronologically. It was a nice thread put together in one spot, so follow them. Kamala oddly flips the script from the border is secure to the border has been insecure for a long time, and it started with Trump. I mean, get a load of this.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
I think we've had
looking off, looking away, cannot look him in the eye when she's lying. If she was a poker player, she would have been busted out immediately.
a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration even before. Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. We need more. I was just down at the border talking.
I was just down at the border. Oh my God.
20 minutes she was down at the border and not an ideal place, not where all the problems are. It's amazing. All the executive orders, all the Trump policy and the border wall and everything was going swimmingly. And then they got rid of all of it. And then had let this huge disaster unfold. Millions of people coming out. They're incentivizing all of these people to come out. And then
and they're looting FEMA funds to redirect them to, because I've been saying, I'm talking with my hands and I knocked my Facebook feed over. Sorry about that. But I've been going, who in the world is paying for all of these people to come in the country, non-Americans? Who's funding this? Where is this money coming from? We didn't vote for this. Right. And then you find out the FEMA funds were redirected. And then you see Karine Jean-Pierre in the side-by-side saying, how dare you say that? No FEMA funds have been redirected. And then you see the other side where she's bragging about redirecting FEMA funds. And it's like, you're taking emergency management funds for Americans and putting people up in 4-star hotels. You're flying people across the country. Non-Americans are getting the red carpet treatment. Blake, it's not that there's a disaster. This is the Democrat deep state plan to replace the population of America with non-Americans. Biden's on camera talking with Mayorkas, laughing about it. And that's not a bad thing. Rick saying barracks, he released 300 terrorists. What is barracks last week?
Barack Obama? I don't know. Releasing 300 terrorists. I'm not 100% on this comment.
Yeah. I mean, no. I mean, Iran definitely got funded by the Obama administration. Yeah. So did with the Biden administration. And then it sucks us into damn near another World War III. Like, they're all just teetering on the verge of global catastrophe, all at the direction of the Democrats. The border's not secure because of Donald Trump. Yeah, that's a pretty rich one. Let me let her continue rambling here. I can't with these people. Look, but here's her body language. You know how you can put mute on and watch Tim Walz and go, that guy is a weirdo. No wonder they kept trying to call JD Vance weird, because they knew their team was really weird. We haven't even gotten into the accusations on him. But she can't even look him in the eye. That is the telltale sign of a liar.
I was just down at the border talking with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure I know you.
And she's also doing the really high voice. I'm really trying to convince you. I was at the border. I talked to the people. And now we're on an episode of Seinfeld. What's the deal with the peanuts you give to the illegals on the flights?
You investigate and you are a serious journalist, they will tell you, we need more judges. We need to prosecute.
You don't need more judges. You don't need more people. You need more checkpoints, and you need better filtration. Good.
Process those cases
faster. We need this support. What is she doing about it? Well, we need this and this and this. Then what the fuck are you doing there?
She's controlling the demolition of the country, pretending
is Biden stopping it?
That she's not doing it.
She's trying to get all this stuff done, but Biden's in the way. No, it's full of shit. I mean, it's like, well, what is she doing? It's so aggravating.
I know.
Faster. We need this support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is.
And this is the administration that wouldn't even put up the border fence and let it rust, then sold it for 5 cents on the dollar as scrap. these damn people, absolute traitors.
The only place that's going to get fixed, Brett.
Well,
that's how this system works.
That's the premise.
Yeah, that's how your system works. That's why you're trailing by 30 points.
This question.
But
There were
that's how the
90
system
plus
works.
executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to.
Say that again, Blake.
I love the fact checks. I mean, I do respect Brett Baer. He's a serious professional and he comes prepared. He knows his shit. And so she couldn't just, get away with that kind of crap like she would in other places. So
right.
Instant
talk
fact
about,
check.
Exactly.
You frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security.
I mean, she's been a failure to border security, and they all back Trump now. I mean, that's not shocking in the least.
Oh, they blasted her on Twitter. It's glorious.
Oh, exactly. All right, let's hear this next one here. Kamala's full-blown TDS overcame her further when Brett Baer played an ad that exposed her support for taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners. The VP responded by complaining about how much money Trump spent on the ad. Wow. Here we go.
This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
By the way, Rick, yes, this is very tough to listen to. It's very tough to listen to. I think Blake's experiencing the same thing. I mean, it's just, you can feel the blood boiling. You know the lies that they're doing. You know the obfuscation, the stunts that they're trying to get away with. I mean, she is so full of it and so unpopular and so unkamalified, uniquely unkamalified for this position. There is no way the deep state can fake a Kamala Harris victory this time around. That's why they tried to off President Trump. They know it. Look at that interaction with Obama and Biden at that church yesterday for the Kennedy event. I mean, they know it. They know their goose is cooked. It's just, are they going to be stupid enough to try something like it? I pray that they don't. I pray that they don't, because it would be even worse than just taking the lumps that are coming their way when they're punished by the American people for their COVID response, for everything that they've been doing wrong for the past 4 years, and really the stuff they've been doing wrong since Barack Obama took the national stage, for that matter. All right, back to this ad.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
So are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law. And it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed. You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report.
She's trying so hard to smile and nod her way into acceptance here. That's not working for me.
That under Donald Trump's administration.
Nodding. Right. It's a Trump thing. Right. No.
These surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis.
Medically necessary. Okay, that's interesting.
To people in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing, stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never.
There's a fancy line from the 60s.
Yeah. Not really relevant. Yeah.
Throwing stones from a glass house. It just reminds me of Hillary and her hot sauce. I don't know. Just seems like an antiquated Democrat here's a little, remember this line and end on that. It's a zinger. No, it's not. It's lame. And it's very forced. It's very fake. And we know that you're covering up what you're guilty of doing.
Never advocated for that prison policy, and no gender transition surgeries
you know what? You got to
happened
take
during
responsible for what
his
happened in your
presidency.
administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in this presidency.
It's in
so
black and white.
would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassignment
I will
surgeries?
follow the law, just as I
you have a
think
say
Donald
in
Trump
this.
would say he did.
Go ahead, Blake.
What fucking law is she talking about? Why don't you just walk that back, or at least say something like, hey, we thought that was a good idea at the time, but we're not going to do stuff like that anymore. No, she just dodges the question, and it's so insane. So yeah, she's going to fund sex change surgery for prisoners and for illegal immigrants. What the fuck for? Why are you using our tax dollars? Maybe she wants to set up a fucking charity and use her own damn money for it. Go for it.
Yeah, she was also
take my fucking tax dollars and pay for that shit. It's insane.
Yeah, she was also advocating people donate to the Minnesota Freedom Fund to bail out the people that burned down your former city, Blake. You know, it's just these people are.
No, I don't get it, Brian. I don't want to do this anymore. You know, I just want to go back and have a normal life. I'm sick of this political shit, but I can't believe half the fucking country can't get their head out of their ass to see how insane this shit is. Like, this is so obvious.
I know.
Here we are. And they still might elect this late. I don't even know. And they wouldn't care, you know, no matter what happens. Ends justify the means. They hate us, so they'll throw us all in fucking gulags. And they'll fucking put this lady up there, and they'll buy fucking sex surgery, open border. They will destroy the country. And I don't know. As long as they can't admit they're wrong, I guess they'll go along with anything. It's insane. Our civilization is doomed. I don't know.
We're hanging on by a very thin thread, Blake.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think it's real. He spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters because he actually has no
fear in the voters. It kind of sounds like rage that you're stealing our money. That's sort of what it feels like to me. But hell, what do I know?
In the voters because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, it's really quite remote.
Yeah. So
yeah, she twists that into, I don't know. Again, it's somehow Trump's fault. It's just because they've put money in the ads. Yeah, they should, because it's a fucking insanity. And she still couldn't just admit, oh, I'm going to follow the law. No, just say, hey, these are really rare cases. It was a couple, and we're not going to do that again. That would be a decent answer.
Yep. But I think she's incapable of providing decent answers. It continues here. In typical Harris fashion, the VP said her plan for the economy would strengthen it, and Trump's plan would blow up our deficits. And then she provides to give zero details. So here you go. Now she's using her hands and really making convincing faces.
My plans for our economy would strengthen our economy. His would make them weaker.
Why do you
would
think more
ignite
people
inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year? Those are the facts.
Why do you think more people say they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
I think that when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as president of the United States, it has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the
divisiveness of framing Trump, Blake. The divisiveness of framing Trump to throw him in jail for the rest of his life by framing him every chance they get. From Georgia to New York, Blake.
Yeah.
The division of Trump, she's claiming.
Type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a new way forward, and they want a president who
a new way forward. It's been Biden-Harris for 4 years.
has a plan for the future and a plan that is sound and will strengthen our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would be, again, to give tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations in our country and blow up our deficit. My plan.
Do you think that's a fair assessment, Blake?
No, they already know what her fucking plan is. At least you said, like, well, just go to my website and take a look. Because she wouldn't be able to articulate it herself.
No.
I don't get it.
No. I don't. I don't.
What do you trust her on that? I don't know. It seems to be she's going to be an extension of the Biden administration, yet she's not. So, I mean, there's just no reason to take her seriously on anything. It's exactly like, you know, the old Healthcare Act. You know, we got to pass it so we can see what's in it. You got to elect Kamala, and then she'll show us this brilliant plan. What the fuck does she know about economy or running a business?
Yeah, nothing. What has she done in the private sector? By the way, Trump is going to work at McDonald's since it appears she lied about that. Trump's going to go work the fries. I think it's a hilarious troll. I'm not sure if he did that today or if that's coming up soon. But yeah, she doesn't know much about anything, and I don't think serious people are going to be listening to her. She continues, going from bad to worse when Kamala can't come up with a single thing she'd do differently than Joe Biden. So yeah, chart a new direction by going exactly the same direction that his puppet masters are going to take me, because I'm their next puppet. Well, we'll just play.
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
And she's been a part of the decisions that had impact, like Afghanistan and reversing all the border stuff.
Harris administration,
like their COVID policies to kick you out of your federal jobs and kick you out of the military if you didn't ingest what they wanted you to ingest, like they were Harvey Weinstein, and they wanted you to spread open on the couch and take what they're going to give you. A bunch of creeps.
would the major changes be, and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So you're not Joe Biden.
Now she's drinking water. She's stressed. She's looking away. So he goes, well, you're not him.
Biden, you're not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear.
Blake, they're about to lie and give you a nice zinger when they say, let me be clear, right? That's the KJP special.
Right? Or Obama.
Let me be clear. Let me be clear. Let me be clear.
My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. And like every new president that comes into office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership. I, for example, am someone who has not spent the majority of my career in Washington, D.C. I invite ideas, whether it be from the Republicans who are supporting me, who were just on stage with me minutes ago, and the business sector, and others who can contribute to the decisions that I make about, for example, my plan for increasing the supply of housing in America and
increasing the supply of housing, Blake. How about you remove 25 million illegal alien invaders? She's really trying to talk about a housing crisis when she let 25 million people jump in and get huge amounts of money on their unlimited spending cards to keep other people out of the housing market to purchase and out of the housing market to rent. And she's going to actually have the gall to talk about a housing crisis. Any thoughts on Kamala and her housing crisis that she's going to fix?
Yeah, I mean, she's created this problem, and yeah, I have no faith that she's going to do anything to fix it. No, this is the agenda. So it's going to be the replacement. They're bringing them in, and we are, people that call this stuff out are going to be the enemies.
Good time.
to the decisions that I make about, for example, my plan for increasing the supply of housing in America and bringing down the cost of housing, addressing the issue of small businesses, which is.
And by the way, all the green initiatives that they're putting forward with her deep state Democrat buddies, that adds, I was watching one analysis, adds an extra $37,000 per house. I forget what state and what region, but in order to build, you cannot build unless you meet all these super extreme, super expensive, super stringent energy quotas, which drastically increases the price of housing, by the way. So it's completely disingenuous. She flooded the market with people and she flooded it with regulations. You cannot believe anything she's saying here.
It's about working with the private sector to bring more capital and access to capital to our small business leaders, including my plan for a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and for small businesses, extending the tax deduction from $5,000 to $50,000.
We've heard a lot about those plans in recent days.
So any final thoughts on this one, Blake, about housing and how she's not different than Biden? She couldn't really say, well, I'm not him. Well, all right, but how are you different? She couldn't answer how she's different. She just said, I'm not him.
I would love to get some vision, hold her feet to the fire, but we didn't get to do that. But we did get to get her squirmed get her to squirm several times, which is always
Rhetoric
good.
that
Here,
people
get
are
some questions for once.
Yes, and I think that comes up here.
Real
This is
quick.
the most- You're right. Comes up here. The most painful moment of the night occurs when Harris crumbled for 2 minutes straight on a question about why Americans are unhappy with the direction the country's moving in. So here we go. Enjoy.
Rhetoric that people are frankly exhausted.
And you can hear she's chopping with her hands. She's angry. She's louder.
Of Brett.
More than
People are
70% of people
exhausted.
tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track.
4 out of 5 people, Blake, think the country's on the wrong track. Tell me how this could be a close election. There's no universe where this could possibly be a close election. Wrong track means whoever's in charge now has to freaking go. And she doesn't get a pass because her name isn't Joe Biden. She's been number 2 this whole time. She can't absolve herself of the mess that the country thinks we're headed in, right?
You wouldn't think so, but I mean, this, how do they do these, ballot harvesting operations or what have you? I don't think that real Americans that care about the country and are actively involved in things would possibly vote for her after seeing how things have changed the last few years. So there's a lot of people that just continue to drink the Kool-Aid but there's also a lot of people, I don't think that they have any idea. They're just going to walk in. They're just being told what to do. And there are people that are going to be like getting amnesty, obviously illegals or whoever, people that probably shouldn't be voting are going to vote because they can try to, stay in the country or what have you, which I don't blame them for, but that's why we don't want them to vote in the first place, because they're not supposed to be here. This is not our immigration policy.
You don't just get to walk into somebody's corporate boardroom, sit down and cast an important vote for the direction of their company. You don't get to do that. Only shareholders get to do that. Shareholders of America are American citizens. That's it. You're either you're either a part of this team or you're not. You do not get to waltz in. But Blake, I think it's probably just about trying to create a state-issued identification card to muddy the water and enter all of that data into something that could create a ballot that could be automatically generated, filled out, and dropped off in drop boxes or dropped off by surrogates and counted as if a real American cast a vote in that direction. If it's a clean election, look at Trump wins 4-1. Three-fourths of the country, take it down to 75%, take it down to 70-30. This is not a close election, Blake. So I really pray that they're not going to be stupid enough to try to tell us Kamala was actually elected by the American people. There is no way.
They did it last time. I mean, yeah, check Siza, but I mean, that was kind of it. Like, the courts don't even look, the courts didn't do anything about it. So it was like, come on, how did these states stop counting in the middle of the night? How did they possibly get 81 million verified vote? None of it. With the drop boxes and everything and the ballot harvesting and the dirty voter rolls. There was a lot of problems, but then they swept that all under the rug, said it was the most safe and secure election ever. And
if it's
it was a bad deal. So yeah, I expect them to do the same playbook again. If it worked last time, I mean, that's all they got. So they're going to run with it. And then it's up to us again. But I mean, they had 7,000 sworn affidavits. Was it in Michigan in 2020? And nothing ever came of that. So are the people going to put up with this shit again?
I know. Let's envision a world where Trump wins in a landslide. I don't know what else to say at this point. All of the repairs needed to have been made by this point already. Well, we'll see. All right, here's the next one. Direction of country. I'm going to play this. Here we go.
On the wrong track. That track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But you're
people
the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, the former chief of staff to the president, Donald Trump, former defense secretaries, national security advisor, and his vice president. One, that he is unfit to serve, that he is unstable, that he is dangerous, and that people are exhausted with someone who professes to be a leader who spends full time demeaning and engaging in personal grievances and it being about him instead of the American people. People are tired of that.
If that's the case, why is half the country supporting him? Why is he beating you in a lot of swing states? Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a cakewalk for anyone.
So are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid? What
God,
is it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question.
Yeah, because nobody's above the law, Kamala. Turning the wheels of justice against people that have committed clear treason. Yeah, buckle up, kiddo. Buckle up. It's obvious what you have all done, your media outlets, your Democrat Party. I mean, Blake, you know what I'm talking about. No, I don't know what you're talking about. That explains Kamala Harris in a nutshell. It should just be a picture of this in silhouette. No, none of us know what you're talking about. Like that sums up Kamala Harris to me.
Right. This is why she has like a 90% staff turnover rate. Because I mean, that's what you have to go along with her. Because if you're in her office and you're the subordinate, and she says that you have to agree and go along with everything. If you were to dare be like Brett Baer and just push back on some stuff, like I don't know what you're talking, that person would be fired so fucking fast.
Kamala, I don't know what you're talking about. You're fired. You're fired.
Yeah, and she can't. Again, take any responsibility, so it's just going to deflect and then twist this onto Trump, where that's where she's comfortable with, is somehow going on the offensive to talk about how.
Oh, your feed froze momentarily. Trying to get Blake back here. Hopefully soon. Let's see, how's his signal? Signal looks fine, but he is gone. He's frozen. Okay, missing the point of that, but I think we get the gist of this segment. Let's go to this one. Conversation took an uncomfortable turn when Harris got angry talking about Trump and the enemy from within. I think we just played this. Oh, no, but I guess it kind of continues here. Blake's back. I think Blake's back. Let me add him to the show here. There's Blake. Sorry, we lost the last 30 seconds of what you were saying.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was just cut out.
You're just going,
I'm ranting and
I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm as mad as hell.
Yeah, we should all be mad as hell. Everybody should be watching that interview and be outraged.
Yes.
How the fuck could we possibly elect this woman?
No, we can't. We can't. For the love of God.
No, we can't. It's kiss America goodbye.
Yeah, let's not do that. Trump landslide. Here we go. Here's the next one.
I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
Well, he was asked about that specific...
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you.
That was the question that we asked him.
You didn't show that, and here's the bottom line.
There's no bottom line. These little stall phrases while they're trying to regroup and think of something to say. They asked him the question and then they showed what he answered with. She's pretending that didn't happen. It's just
But in all fairness and respect to
that was the question that we asked him.
You didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military.
She keeps trying to like force her way into this. It's they never like being, fact checked. They never no accountability. They're always right, and they're going to gaslight you until we both agree. We both agree. Like, no, we don't don't tell me what I agree with. No, you're fucking insane, and you're a liar, and you're phony, and you're just trying to, force this onto everybody, and it's not true. They need to be live fact checked and mocked. It's too bad there's not like a Judge Judy or something up there, because then you could have them go back and forth. And him very calmly saying, like, this is what happened. This is how it is. And then have Judge Judy yelling at her. Give correct answers. No, stop stalling. Stop blaming it on Trump. Let's talk about you and your administration and what you do the last few years. So, yeah, hold her feet to the fire.
Yeah.
She had to do this. She had to do some kind of a thing. Obviously, the internal polls aren't going well. So she had to make some kind of an appearance and hopefully get some highlights out of it that she could use as an appeal, but it ain't going to work.
Yeah. Allegedly her and Trump are supposed to go on Joe Rogan. I mean, like, early voting's already here. What are we waiting for? Make this happen yesterday. Dreamer saying Brett should have suggested a thought experiment. Try and answer 2 questions in a row without mentioning a former president. Yeah. Could you imagine that? I thought Brett did a good job. I think some of the best communicators, Peter Ducey, pretty monotone, clear, not a lot of raising his voice, kind of straightforward. Brett did a pretty good job. He did a pretty good job, I think, all things considered, in this kind of low, quiet voice. Because Kamala, look at her. She's getting angry here and she's getting loud. Bigfoot Softwash is not a fan of Kamala. We'll leave it at that. I want to say thank you to Kenneth and Victoria and Eric and Jean-Luc and everybody else watching on the Agree to Disagree show in our private Facebook group. Go ahead and find it and subscribe to it. And they'll say, this is a private group. How did you find us? Say, Brian sent you. Brian sent me. And then we'll let you into the group and try to be awesome, because only awesome people stay in the Agree to Disagree show group. Anyway, she's getting angry, she's getting loud, and she continues.
That he has talked about turning the American military on the American people.
I mean, maybe on the traitors, and here we go. Nobody's above the law, Blake. That's what they told us about Trump, as they were framing him incessantly, over and over, framing him to cage him, to kidnap and cage him. And they have the gall to be worried about, oh my gosh, you mean they might look at us? Yeah, they're gonna look at you, because Trump didn't frame you the way that you've been framing him. And you are as complicit, Kamala, as Biden is, as Obama is, as Pelosi is, as Kinzinger is, as Cheney is, as that whole rotten group of scoundrels are. You are equally complicit. And also media personalities, guess what, sweetheart? In the Nuremberg trials, I don't think you got a chance to just go, well, I was just doing my job. Just doing as I was told. So we'll see how this plays out.
He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up.
The reason I paused it there was...
It did to peaceful protesters on January 6th and threw them in a gulag without charges, that kind of stuff. I mean, what was he talking about? Is this in reference to the 2020 riot with like Antifa actually, like, arson or vandalizing buildings? Yeah, some of those people, they probably should have been, classified as domestic terrorists for what the shit that they were pulling. But I don't know if that's what she's getting at. Or otherwise she's just making this shit up.
Let me pull up The Hill here just for context, because I'm not entirely certain what this quote is. The Hill is saying former President Trump's suggestion that U.S. troops could be used to go after radical left lunatics following the presidential election has alarmed those in the military community and bolstered Democratic warnings about the dangers of a second Trump term. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like radical left lunatics are the ones that are burning and the ones that Tim Walz wanted you to get away with. By the way, when you share that Tim Walz I don't know, what is it? Tim Wall's joke video about Minneapolis. Come visit Minneapolis. It's on fire. Facebook Meta slapped it with a warning. I forgot why you're not supposed to see it, but they cover it up. I mean, these people are always covering for the dirtbags and the violent people. Yeah. The radical left lunatics. Of course, those are the ones that need to be shut down. Those are the ones the National Guard need to be working to suppress when they're trying to burn the communities down. So the article continues. Trump, who warned Sunday that
you're fucking shooting bear mace in people's faces and you're vandalizing buildings. I don't give a shit if the military takes you out. You fucking deserve it.
Yeah, that's exactly what National Guard's there for. When domestic terrorist groups are trying to cause damage, like domestic terrorists in your country, in your cities, in your communities. But no, when someone like Kyle Rittenhouse shows up and he's attacked by several different people with criminal backgrounds, they try to demonize him and frame him and throw him in jail for defending himself. The Democrats must be punished for all of the stuff they've been up to, especially since 2008. 2008, the party went bonkers, and they've been drunk with power, feeling invincible since. This election is a referendum on that, because I'm telling you, there are no more off-ramps. If they are not punished for their crimes, we're done. We're toast. We're goners. I'll see you in the gulag, FEMA region, whatever. Like there is no more country if this isn't corrected this time around. Anyway, it just says Trump, who warned Sunday that he could deploy active or National Guard troops to counter the enemy from within. Yeah, like you, Kamala, drew quick condemnation from Harris's campaign, saying the comments should alarm Americans who care about their freedom and security. Trump has suggested deploying the military within U.S. borders before, and Mark Esper said they should take it seriously. Okay, he lived through the summer of 2020 where Trump and those around him wanted to use the National Guard in various capacities in Chicago, Portland, Seattle. Well, no shit. That's exactly what we're talking about. Are they telling us this story like this is a bad thing? That you would use the National Guard to put down an uprising, to overthrow and destroy an American city in our country? Is this supposed to be bad?
Like an insurrection in those places, and they had that whole zone, was the Jazz Zone. Totally lawless. They kicked the cops out. And yeah, it was a disaster over there. Seattle and Portland, absolutely terrible. Yeah, it's threatening to the people in the community. So yeah, it is time to send in the National Guard for that situation. We saw it unfold. That's what happened when we didn't have a National Guard. So you want to see that shit again in every and so many other major cities? No, take it down. You're allowed to peacefully protest. Make an argument. I want to hear it. But I think these people have to look in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? We were lied to by the media. We were duped by the media.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad. They made Trump out to be this monster. He wasn't. And we lost our shit and we started burning the city because one white cop, choked a black man in Minneapolis. And now we're going to burn the whole fucking country down.
Yeah, but there were
different getting into the details without getting into the sidetrack of whether it was an overdose or what have you. Even if it was one racist cop, that's no excuse to fucking burn the country down.
It continues and wraps up here. Trump, in an interview with Fox News that aired on Sunday, dismissed Biden's concerns that Election Day wouldn't be peaceful and said he thinks the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroyed our country. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics, Trump said, and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by the National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen, he continued. The remarks drew outrage. I mean, Blake, it's just obvious. You don't let the inmates run the asylum, but then she's trying to twist it like Trump's being a lunatic here. Let's let her continue.
Because they disagree with him. This is
she's saying that Trump's going to try to turn the military on people because they disagree with him. My God, is that disingenuous?
Peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him.
You've been framing Trump to lock him up because he disagrees with you. They will literally accuse every single person of what they are guilty as sin of doing themselves. These are the most gaslighting monsters you have ever seen, coagulated and coalesced in one location, congregated. Maybe that's the other C word I'm looking for. Congregated in one location. Gaslighting 101. Like, these people wrote the damn book on lying to your face.
This is a democracy.
No, we're a constitutional republic.
And in a democracy, the president of the United States.
I've paused this a couple times.
She's just trying to look strong by fucking getting all upset about something, but this is misdirected. This isn't directed in the right spot. She's just pure projection here.
Have you ever worked with somebody or had a family member or had a teacher, a woman in power who starts talking to you this way? Blake, is there anybody, you don't need to name them, but have you ever worked for somebody or had a family member or there's someone in school, a teacher that started talking this way and acting this way, high and mighty in the most belittling, condescending tone, loudly and just trying to smash down on you? Like, she gives off such grotesque vibes of bully. It's a bully vibe is what I get from her right now.
Because they disagree with him. This is a democracy.
Don't yell at me, lady. You're lying to me. We're a constitutional republic, and stop yelling at me.
And in a democracy.
Look at Brett. I love Brett. Brett did a great job for this. Like, okay, lady, but that's why he's our favorite news robot.
The president of the United States in the United States of America.
This had to be why they shut this interview down. It's like, Kamala, you lost your shit. Like, everybody's looking at you like the really bad experience they previously had at a job, at school, with a teacher, with someone, their friends or family or neighbors. Like, she has now personified the most annoying version of this type of person that is going to know it all and talk condescendingly and bully you right to your face while lying about the key context of the issue at hand.
Should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it.
He didn't say he's going to lock you up for criticizing people. She is completely misrepresenting that. She is the worst.
And this is what is at stake, which is why you
stop yelling at me, Kamala Harris.
Have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Oh, you mean like the 51 intelligence officials?
Saying what Mark Milley has said.
Mark Milley! Blake, she's quoting Mark Milley.
Yeah, fuck Mark Milley, fuck Mike Pence, and so many of these other like neocons that are, trashing Trump. We don't care. Take them. Have Liz Cheney or Dick Cheney. They're all garbage.
Oh my God!
I don't care what they say about
Mark Milley.
About Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes. Let me ask you this, Madam Vice President. You call Donald Trump.
The significance of that.
Call Donald Trump.
No, because you're full of shit, lady. And he's trying to get another question in there because he's only got limited time and his staff is trying to shut it down.
Yeah, and I think at this point, everybody's looking off camera. I caught Kamala doing it once or twice. I think I caught Brett doing it.
You say now
he's unstable. He is unstable, Brett.
This is the best part. This might be the best part. And I love when oh my gosh, Blake, this is a masterclass in tossing bait and her taking the bait. Some might say Brett is a master baiter. But anyway, not like Jeffrey Toobin. We're just saying he's great. He throws the bait out saying unstable, and she jumps at it, bites into the hook, the fish hook with the wiggly worm, goes, yes, he is unstable. Yes, she is so excited that she got one on him. Watch this, because the next part is glorious.
He's misguided. You say now
he's unstable. He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this.
Okay, so this leads into the next part. It must be this. I'm not even going to read what they said, but follow Vigilant Fox because they laid it out nice in a thread for us to quickly navigate through.
He's unstable. He is unstable.
He is unstable. God, that is such like a kindergarten. She is unstable. We did tell you to put down the toy. Yeah, it is bedtime. It is nap time. It's like you can just see like that annoying teacher. It is that.
He's unstable. He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you.
He's not stable, she says about Donald Trump. Okay, great. Now, this lends the obvious question. since you took the bait, sweetheart.
Stable?
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff.
Although he did say that wrong. He ran around circles on his staff. He meant to say ran circles around his staff.
That ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that?
Right there, it's like this is the freeze frame when you can see her soul dying, Blake. I don't know if you see this like I see it, but like you can almost see her sink inside of herself in this moment going, oh, Lord, I don't know how to answer this.
Around circles on his staff. When did you first notice?
Around her and just people agreeing with her all constantly.
Yeah, exactly. The emperor has no clothes. And yes, she's been surrounded by a bunch of yes men.
When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room, and he has the judgment and the experience.
Blake.
Another question, Dodge. Right.
Joe Biden has the experiment necessary.
And the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions.
Yeah, very important decisions that he's made incorrectly, Blake. That's the part, like, oh yeah, Biden's been there to make decisions. Number one, no, he's not making decisions. Number two, he's making the wrong decisions.
On behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
but
is.
You talked about it.
Answer the fucking question.
George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best.
And by the way, if you listen in the back, you hear like some boots stomping, and she's looking off to the side, almost like she's listening to her earpiece. I bet you this is the moment they pull the plug here.
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best, including leaders of our national security community.
Yeah, 51 intelligence officials. We know the deep state lies to cover the deep state.
Have all spoken out, even people who worked for him in the Oval Office, worked with him in the Situation Room, and have said he is unfit and dangerous and should never be president of the United States again, including his former vice president, which is why the job was open for him to choose another running mate. So that is a fact. That is a fact.
There you have it, Blake.
The same thing about the Border Patrol when talking about her. She's got enough. I would like to see how her former staffers, what they have to say about her. You know, Trump tried to work with neocons. He tried to cozy up with some of the worst of the Republicans. That was his problem. And now they're being used against him. But they were never on his side to begin with. They were constantly undermining him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just the people he surrounded himself with now, Tulsi Gabbard, Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon Musk, and RFK Jr. Yeah, that's a damn dream team. That's a dream team compared to the swamp creatures he started out with. He's going to have way more discernment of who's who and who's directionally on the same page as him moving forward. I'm so excited about the second term. All right, here's where the conversation concludes. A fitting end.
I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump. There are a lot of things.
There's more to say. I have much more to say.
There are a lot of things that people want to learn about you and your policies, and that's why I
invite everyone to go to kamalaharris.com, and you will see that I have 80.
I want to go to your fucking website. I want you to tell me why I should vote for you. And
that's why you're in person. That's the point of the show up to an interview. And 20 minutes is not a damned interview. You gotta unpack for the vacation. I wrote a lyric for a song called Waking Up. It feels like we just unpacked and now it's time to leave. That's exactly what this is. Like, you didn't even get into anything and you didn't talk about yourself. You just kept talking about Trump and ignoring that you were covering for Biden's mental lapses for 4 years while they weekended Bernied him around like a puppet on a string.
Pages of policies that are quite comprehensive and should be accessible to anyone who would like to read them.
Oh, accessible to anybody who'd like to read them, except for all of these piles of people that allegedly can't get voter IDs. They can't get driver's licenses. They don't have copiers. They don't have printers. And they surely don't have internet, I suppose.
Tend to do about small businesses, what I do.
And that's why
intend
we
to do to
invited you
strengthen
here
our economy.
to see
Affordable housing again after inviting 30 million illegal alien invaders in, taking up all the housing that Americans want, driving the prices up so Americans are struggling. That's the story we heard from the Bronx to Chicago when we were out on the campaign tours this summer, following the Republicans, Democrats, and Libertarians. The residents hate that non-Americans are getting funds that we should be getting assistance with. You're helping the wrong people. You're stealing from America. You people are freaking fired.
where you were in 2019 and where you are now.
America's military and ensure we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world.
Madam Vice President,
And
they're giving me a hard rap
Well,
here.
I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope you.
There, it ends like that, Blake.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
No, I'd like to. I just wish it was like 3 times longer, and we could really get her to squirm by just fact checks, very serious stuff, and watch her as she's like freaking out and be continuing to get more unhinged when she's not around, yes people that are just gonna allow her to, asking her softball questions so she can just, bash Trump. That's easy. But defending your positions and trying to, sell yourself and your policies is difficult. And she just did the bare minimum, and they shoot her out.
Yeah, just like this here. If you missed the interview, here's her answer to everything. Here's a summary. What are her thoughts on the border crisis? Trump bad. On inflation? Trump bad. On crime? Trump bad. On abortion on demand? Trump bad. On fracking? Trump bad. On plans for America? Trump bad. You get the point there.
Yeah.
I mentioned the Bronx and just kind of want to show this. Here's an interesting moment here. Trump in the Bronx in a barbershop. Trump inside of a Bronx barbershop.
What's that all about?
He's going to have a soft Christian floor at Mar-a-Lago. Big hand, strong guy.
My son is the owner. Oh, you did that very nice and easy, huh? Is he as good as you? He's great.
You got to give it to Trump, man. He will reach out to anywhere on earth, Blake. You got to give him credit for that. Even if, like you said in one of your videos, you don't vote for Trump, even if you don't like him. Although when he's in a one-on-one small room like this, it's easy to win people over. He calls the Republicans the party of common sense. 99% of the stuff they're talking about is just common sense stuff, while the left has gone off the deep end. Any thoughts on Trump's ability to go into places where the traditional Republican rhino just doesn't care about and never bothers with?
Yeah, he's a phenomenon, and he can go anywhere, talk to anybody. He can without a teleprompter, and there's only a handful of people that can do stuff like that. But that's what, presidential. That's like where you think of like, Teddy Roosevelt or Ronald Reagan or some of the great ones that could just go in, talk for hours, and just, it was great. It was a pleasure to listen to. And he's funny, knows his shit. He's got a good direction. He loves the country, loves the people. He's the populist. And he should be. It's a shame that he wasn't to get a second term, and that he could just, he's on his way to retiring. This is his last, hurrah, and then we're gonna send him out. He's still our champion, and he's still going to go for another 4 years. So yes, thank Donald Trump for doing what he does.
Yeah,
he's a rock star.
I'm trying to find this little clip here. I think it's this one. Let me play this. This is the Bloomberg News from yesterday. Just a couple of quick hits, and we'll wrap today's show up. Make sure you're following Blake at not Eccentric 99 at TV's Blake Walley and thenextlevelnews.com. This was the Bloomberg News Economic Club of Chicago. They bashed. I believe this was the one that Kamala did not go to. Maybe I'm confusing them with another. Like, it's all happening really hot and heavy and fast at this moment, but. I think there's some interesting stuff in this little clip.
Would add $7.5 trillion to to the debt. That's more than twice the total for Vice President Harris. The upper estimate is 15 trillion. People like the Wall Street Journal, who's hardly a communist organization,
Yeah, but you don't know.
they have criticized you on this as well. You are running up enormous debts.
What does the Wall Street Journal know? I'm meeting with them tomorrow. What does the Wall Street Journal know? They've been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way. You've been wrong about
You're trying to turn this. You're trying to turn this.
You've been wrong about
No, you're trying to turn this into debate. Tariffs, do you think that will bring in the revenues? To use another bipartisan group,
Yeah,
Peterson Institute, they say they only bring in $200 billion. That is that's barely the cost of 2 of your promises.
Yeah, but that's like for what company are you talking about? Okay, look, I brought in with tariffs, and I was just getting started. Then COVID came, and we had because I tell you what, I did a very good job in COVID. Nobody knew what the hell it was.
Tariffs also have another side. Isn't that something that you have to acknowledge?
No.
You could be plunging America into the biggest trade war since Smoot-Hawley.
But there are no tariffs.
You're going to stop. There are tariffs already.
No,
at the
there
moment.
are no tariffs because you put them in the young. You tend to put them in young.
I don't know. This clip is all over the place, Blake. I thought because the other one was 2:30, and I thought it was exactly the one where he was talking about Gavin Newsom.
It's probably at the end of that one. Yeah, I've seen that clip. So it's good for him because he's actually explaining how his economic policy will work, unlike Kamala, who just wants you to elect her and then she'll have some kind of grand vision, which has nothing to do with her.
Oh, Blake had a pause again.
Related.
Oh, there he is. Okay. It had nothing to do with her. Oh, Blake dropped out. Is Blake back? Here he is.
Again, cut off. All right. Well, what can you do?
Well, look, the upside to potentially revamping the headquarters, the next level news headquarters, maybe some more reliable internet. Maybe there could be a positive in all of this mess. But yeah, we were just kind of wrapping up how Trump at least has the balls to go into these places and. He'll lay it out. You can disagree. You can go back and forth, but he'll have a conversation with anyone. He doesn't run from any of this stuff. And that's what leadership looks like. And he was talking about COVID. He did a good job during COVID. And, look, people that want to bash him for that, he left everything voluntary. Nothing was mandated. And he did two-hour press conferences every single day. I remember that happening. And that's what leadership looks like at a time of just trying to unpack what's happening and leaning on the most trusted people in your administration. I mean, turns out Fauci exposed himself in a million ways, and that reckoning may be coming with RFK, Lord willing, following a blowout Trump landslide. But, that's what you want out of somebody in charge, is to jump into the fire, run into the problem, and stand there in front of the bright lights and talk for as long as it takes till you figure stuff out. Doesn't mean you get everything right. And it doesn't mean you always conduct yourself perfectly, but directionally, that's what I want. I want someone that cares. And, I've seen a Democrat Party that does not care about prioritizing America since 2008, and I'm done with it. And hopefully America's done with it too. Blake, we can wrap up here. I didn't know if you had any other thing that you found interesting that you wanted to highlight, or anything you wanted to comment upon, or any final thoughts on wrapping up all of this. There was so much to unpack, but today's show's a little truncated on the beginning because of the Unhappy Hour sports show, and then bookended by, of course, Strictly Football coming up.
Right. Your show's coming up in 20 minutes. All right. Let's do a quick rundown.
Nice.
This is just a twist. There's just a little tweet here, a post from Jack Sobik saying the hearing staff.
Do we want to get your screen shared on the?
It was just on there. What happened to it?
Oh, that was your screen. Hang on. Let me put it back. I thought that was mine. Okay. That's you. Got it.
Yes, he's got a lot of insiders. He's saying hearing staff aren't even trying to talk to Kamala right now and aren't planning to all night. They know better by now when she gets like this. So I'm assuming she's probably in a pretty foul mood following that interview. And I would not want to be around to get berated by her when you're not, able to push back on her the way Brett Baer did. And
Brett was so gentle. He was polite. He was professional. There's always gonna be a little overtalk and redirecting and holding people and fact checking, but Brett did a great job there. There's nothing you could look at and go, Brett was out of his mind, or, oh, he was so rude. That was unprofessional. None of that. None of that. Kamala just imploded. The more she kept going, man, she did not like being questioned. And that is not the type of queen you want ruling over your kingdom. At all costs, you keep people like that away from power. Like you said, that's why all of her staff.
Right. But she wants that power so bad. She's craving that presidency. She loves the idea that she's going to be the most powerful person on the planet. How dare Brett dare push back on the queen? But yeah, so that's one thing. What else do we have? That was funny to note. The legacy media keep using their weird buzzwords and talking points. Last night it was testy. That was the left-wing buzzword.
Testy.
Yes, the new NPC chip update.
Oh, hold on. But before we start, we better be careful with Tim Walz if he finds out about testy being one of the words of the day.
Perhaps. Yeah.
There's a lot of jokes in there about the Tim Walz rumors and testes. Anyway, go ahead. So that's
right. Well, there's horse stuff and probably students. There's some bad stuff.
Unconfirmed. I'm not willing to say, but that's what people are talking about.
But would not be surprising. Something's not right with that.
Sorry if I came off a little too testy.
Sure. Thank you, Brian. Okay. Well, there he goes. Testy. That's the new word of the day. Another one's asking Elon, saying, who sends out the commands? Yeah, where do they get the talking point? Much from the DNC or whoever. But
Obama in his basement in his pajamas with the nightstick in the observatory.
Perhaps. Sharp as a tack. Now it's testy or it's weird or yeah, they love their buzzwords. Let's see. Of course, one of the other questions on the day we had was Democrats, even if Trump wins, they probably won't certify the election because he's dangerous to democracy.
Well, you mean the democracy that they subverted for 3 straight election cycles by installing a candidate instead of letting people vote in the primaries for who they wanted to run the party? That type of democracy threat, the ones that the Democrats keep causing, they're the ones complaining about? Oh, that's rich. That is rich.
Yeah, so that's something to consider coming up between the election and inauguration is chances things are going to get pretty ugly. So regardless of whoever wins, it's not going to be taken well. And lastly, of course, we had just a quick one on, you said $425 million for Ukraine. North Carolinians are getting $750 a pop, like if they qualify and if they're able to get it. I mean, it's insane. They're just shoving it in their face
out like that. Like why couldn't some acreage be purchased and some mini homes, some starter homes, some tiny homes, some reasonable, like, why can't you make the American people right? Why are you sending $425 million, stealing it from America and sending it across the country so that they can go into nightclubs and arrest more men and conscript them into a place where they get sent home in body bags? Why are we funding and supporting this stuff? The people in North Carolina need some help. They need some real funding. Could you imagine how much housing $425 million could go toward for the people who lost everything, no homes to go back to? Any home they do go back to is covered in mold and it's condemned. All their belongings, waterlogged, black mold, it's all trashed. It's all gone. Their memories, their moments, they're gone. Don't you think $425 million could help those people start fresh? Maybe you can't live in that exact community, but maybe you could move 20 minutes down the road. You could buy an old farmhouse. You could fix it up. Gives you a little bit of money to get started and make some renovations and start anew. Man, $425 million could help a lot of fucking families, Blake.
Yeah, it sure would. And it should be America first. It should be common sense, but it's not. So they are taking all of our tax dollars and giving it to illegal aliens or people across on the other side of the planet, Ukraine. It's sad.
Like Ukraine, it's sad. $425 million security assistance package for Ukraine. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, balls to the walls, Rick Norman. There's Blake. He's back. I got you. Oh, I sort of have you. Oh, Blake's connection. It's a rough one today. Rick saying balls to the walls. Kenneth, of course. Any chance we get to bring up a classic joke, Kenneth, my plums. Like right plums. The juice running down your chin. Ah, man. That's a classic. Testy. Try it again. There's Blake Walley. Okay. You had one last thing.
Perfect day here. I don't know. I got a beautiful signal, Starlink, sunny, blue skies, no clouds. Why is it keep cutting out? I have no idea.
Well, like plums.
Yeah. Well, Brian, it's been a pleasure. Thanks, everybody. I think, we should probably go here, Brian. You got another show coming up in 15 minutes.
Yes, we're going to do Strictly Football with Mike Barra. Blake always has an open invitation, although he's super busy right now. Maybe when things calm down, we can get him talking about his awesome Minnesota Vikings, man. Are you getting amped for the season? You guys are doing good. You got a good season.
Yeah, it's an unexpected surprise, so I'll take it. So
heck yeah,
very good.
Congratulations!
We got a divisional battle with the Lions this weekend, so that should be very exciting. Tough division.
Lions lost Aiden Hutchinson. That's a big loss for them.
That's gruesome. I hate seeing that.
Yeah, injuries are the worst part of sports. I read the Nick Chubb Players Tribune article. I don't know if you had a chance to read it or not, but it's emotional, man. Nick Chubb's had a lot of knee injuries at Georgia, and then now, last year with Minkah Fitzpatrick on the Steelers blowing his knee out. But yeah, he's coming back this week. So, injuries are the worst part of the game for sure. But at least my lousy 1-5 tied for worst record in the league, Cleveland Browns, have something to cheer for this week, and it's Nick Chubb returning. Tell people, Blake, where to follow you online so they can have some of the most awesome independent thought in all of alternative media, as you put out there on your video saying, who is Blake Walley? That was spurred on by one of my amazing questions.
Right. Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Brian. Yes, follow me on Twitter, X, TV's Blake Walley, and the archive is on thenextlevelnews.com.
Heck yeah. Awesome. Well then, Blake, appreciate you. To be continued.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how our schedule is going to flow over the next couple of weeks as I'm got to relocate. So I don't know if we're going to move shows towards the night or skip a couple right at crunch time during the election, but we'll figure it out. So it'll be,
I'll say this, Blake, as much as I can. Cause you and I, all our chips are moved in. We're pot committed on this thing. So I'm going to keep doing Tuesday, Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll steer it myself by I think I'll probably just go through my X feed because I'm looking for good stories to share all day. And to produce the show, I'll probably just work my way back on my timeline because there's so much good stuff there. But any and every show that you can, that you're able to, and that you want to, it's both at the same time, that you want to, yes, we'd love to keep that standard Tuesday, Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll do it on my own anytime you're unable to, no worries. But if you want to move something to an evening slot, just let me know. We'll do another show. And as long as it's something that makes sense, and my Cleveland Indians, who battle today, at 5:08 coming up in 20 minutes, the Tribe down 0-2 to the Yankees. It's really big deal sports wise for me, but we will do as much as we can between now and the election when Trump wins in a landslide, and then we can take a breath and go back to our civilian lives again in a way that we haven't felt this energy since 2016. It's urgent. It's do or die time. It's America or bust, all in. So yeah, as Kenneth was asking, who is Blake Walley? How is Blake Walley? When is Blake Walley? You can find the answers to that. Where did you put that? On your YouTube channel, your Rumble? Where do people follow you on that account too?
It's on Twitter. I'll probably I think I'm gonna pin that on there. I'll just pin that on my profile. That way, if people go visit my Twitter X or whatever, and they just see me for the first time, who is this dude? Then they can just click that. There you go. You get 3 minutes of my of our 2024 highlights from the Agree to Disagree show.
Yeah, you put a couple spicy ones in there too. Not your spiciest, but a couple of your spicy ones.
Yeah, it's the stuff that I was able to just easily access. So still had enough good content to fill up a 3-minute clip.
And by the way, Rick Norman, yes, Indians, not Guardians. Forever the Tribe. I like to call them the Tribe. Let's appreciate the history. If we want to keep our nickname, that's fine. But just don't delete our team. Don't do that. that was a repercussion from 2020, by the way. That's why Paul Dolan changed the name of the Cleveland Indians for social justice or something. But yes, let's roll Tribe. Hopefully we get the win. I think the next 3 are in Cleveland, so we could end up 3-2 headed back to the Bronx if we maintain our home field advantage. We'll see how it goes, of course. Fingers crossed to the Tribe. Blake, appreciate you as always. We'll let you go. To be continued. Good luck on all the things that you have been dumped on your to-do list. You'll get it. You'll crush it. Keep up the good work, and we will talk to you again really soon.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Brian.
There he goes. Blake Walley TV's Blake Walley. Follow him. And if you want to donate to independent journalism, he's Cash App. Oh, geez, what is it? I have it down here. There you go. TV's Blake Walley, Next Level News, Cash App. It's $Blake W99. Okay, in the last couple moments before I hit reset, close this stream, and then relaunch the next stream for Strictly Football with Mike Barra, I want to ask that you do all of these things. Follow us on X. We are at American_media_. See, we have the upside down American flag because we are truly a conquered nation, a nation in distress, a nation in turmoil, a nation blinking the red lights of danger, 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 Will Robinson. Follow us on X at American_media_, getting close to, I don't know, 100,000 posts over the eternity of the entirety, not eternity. Close, similar meanings too. I like when words are similar in meaning and in spelling, just like that one proved to be. That set of words proved to be. Okay, anyway, also follow us on Rumble. Rumble is like the new YouTube. It's the place that I want you to be because Rumble doesn't censor the way that YouTube does, Google does. So please follow us at American_media_ on X. And then, of course, the New American Media. I can't find my profile page. Oh, well, just search the New American Media on Rumble. We're growing over there. Sometimes we pop with big stories. Sometimes it's slow growth. But look, YouTube is fantastic, but it's not. I mean, look at what they've done. We have 1,500 different videos, 1,500 videos, 6.38 thousand subscribers, millions of views, more than 1 million views. And this is with all of our information being heavily shadow banned and censored. So I would encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@thenewamericanmedia. Please do that. It's nice, but that's why we want you on Rumble. Rumble's like the new YouTube. On Spotify, I guess I got to sign in again. Spotify, the 2 podcasts, the Agree to Disagree show. That's this one that we just completed. And then, of course, the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Sign up with us there. On Spotify. Okay, where else are we? Instagram, the New American Media, and the Agree to Disagree show. Just hit us everywhere, okay? TNAM on Facebook. Search for the private groups. And I'm going to go ahead and press pause, close this show, and then launch the next one. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Love you. We'll talk again soon. Take care. But we're coming right back talking football. Just refresh the stream, and we'll be right back.